there is one color that has manufactured, for lack of a better word, manufactured so much demand for a dial of a watch, it's turquoise. At first we thought it was just a trend, just another fad like so many others that have come and gone, but I believe there is something more to it. We now see this color on watches that go for $50 and others that go for hundreds of thousands. But somehow it always manages to communicate the same thing. Words like exclusivity, rarity, hard to get. But I want to go deeper with this color. I want to try and understand beyond the surface level our innate fascination with it, looking at turquoise's characteristics, the symbolism on both an intrinsic and extrinsic level. But rest assured, there is a lot more to it than meets the eye. Why is it that so many of us watch enthusiasts love turquoise dial pieces? Where we thought that this color would be short-lived, we were wrong. No matter where we look across watches and some of our favorite brands, the color turquoise always seems to make an appearance. If anything, it has become more established as a primary color choice over the years. No better example than when we look at the most recent Tudor Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue. I still think the proportions of this watch utterly perfect. Now the use of blue as the accent, it'll be bringing in the female audience, I'm sure. An ideal color choice for the summer season. We've seen it incorporated with other watches from different brands. And some of you have asked me for a mock-up of this watch with a black bezel insert, so I had to oblige. Must say, 10 out of 10 with an eye for detail. Those of you out there who wanted this combination, I think it looks exquisite. Turquoise as a watch dial color, it is an enigma. It has in one way or another been forced onto us by the industry. Demand has probably done the same thing. It's probably pushed for it too. The introduction of unisex watches, as discussed in my last video about the Seamaster Professional, I think that has also been a factor in the equation. It's popular, yes, but was that popularity generated by hype, by trends, by demand, or was it generated by our genuine fascination with it? And I think there is a little bit of everything here. At first, I didn't personally see the appeal. I found the color to be too effervescent, too bright on the wrist. But as time has gone by, it has grown on me, and there is something about how this color contrasts with steel, with white gold, creating something that is very eye-catching, but also fashionable. Something that does stand out against modern clothing. So for this video, instead of just talking about a selection of the best 10 watches you can get for the price, I wanted to further study the meaning behind the turquoise color. Because I think in there, understanding the color a lot more, we can appreciate it far more. And to possibly get a firmer grasp as to why it appeals to us deeply on a different level. So, I have always been interested in history, about the rise and fall of civilizations, about what these cultures deemed important, and how many parts of different cultures have trickled into our own. Now, I don't want this video to be too esoteric, but what all of these cultures had in common was an innate appreciation for materials like platinum, gold, silver, bronze, but precious stones in particular, they had an immensely important value and meaning in their world. Ancient Egyptians admired lapis lazuli, the royal stone, believed to lead the soul of the wearer to immortality. Ancient Romans, they venerated cornelian or carnelian stones, a sign of strength, fortitude, and courage, often seen on rings with elaborate carvings. And for the American Indians, the Aztecs, the Mayans, well, the turquoise stone very much defined their cultures and their way of being. Often depicted as the stone of life, its color related to the sky and to the water. And through their lives, the Navajo would use the turquoise stone to symbolize a person's birth, life, and death, representing health, healing, protection, and good fortune. What always fascinated me is that even though many of us aren't even remotely connected to these cultures, these stones and the specific meanings they had in these various cultures, they have been lost on us. Today we still see the intrinsic value that these things hold, the precious metals on watches and the stones that are used to complement these metals on their dials. And I do believe that these colors, they deeply affect us more than we even realize. And that is why I believe that turquoise dial watches in particular, they have a far stronger hold over us compared to virtually every other color. Now look, stone dials and vibrantly colored dialed watches, they've been around for decades. Their popularity, on the other hand, I don't believe they have reached the heights that they are currently at now. Social media, for all of its shortcomings, it has given us far more insight and a direct link to see what's more popular, what's currently trending, and to get feedback from others in our community. The push to produce this color on a watch has been popular now for over 5 years. But what is it about this particular color that keeps pulling us back to take a second look? Now, to understand it, we are going to have to go a bit deeper into color theory, from a designer's point of view at least. We could be here all day talking about their meanings, but there are so many different meanings attached to them, positives and negatives. But for the purposes on a watch dial, maybe we can understand why turquoise impacts us the way it does. Here are a few major ones. The color black can be associated with elegance, white, cleanliness, red, love and passion, orange, creativity, yellow, happiness, green, health and abundance, blue, calmness. And turquoise, being a healthy blend of blue and green, indicates a bit of both: abundance, calmness, health, but with its brightness, happiness. And there are even other words associated with the turquoise color, like creativity and mental clarity. So there is a lot to it. Maybe we don't think about what the color means often enough, with the clothes we wear, with the watches that we wear, but subconsciously in the hind parts of our brain, we register it as something significant. So far, we have looked at what the color could mean culturally. We've also looked at what the color represents from a design point of view, and beyond what the color could mean to us on a deeper level, there is another side to it though, the watch collecting side. You know, this color has been associated with the words like rarity, exclusivity, and expense. Because of the well-known jeweler Tiffany & Co. and the reputation it garnered for itself, all of those words have been linked with the name, and maybe this is where it all started. In more than a few examples, the name has bled itself into the color of these watches, and now it's commonplace to call them Tiffany dials, even if they don't have the associated stamp and all the rest. When we take ourselves back to when this color was introduced and pushed out of the door, it was at a time where demand for watches was insanely high, where hype governed everything. And because of that exuberance, because the nature of watch wearing at the time was about getting as much eyes on a piece as possible, no matter where you went, of course the bright blue color went haywire. And the thing is, where it once looked to be a trend, at the close of 2022, we were all asking the same thing. 3 years later, the color is just as popular. Demand, it's never been higher. And what I like most about it is that this color, where once it was seen as exclusive and rare, it has trickled down to every tier in the watch hobby. One of my favorites, in fact, the use of this turquoise color, belongs to a Seiko, the King Turtle US edition. The fact that there are actually cracks to this dial, very clearly representing the turquoise stone. Believe it or not, in the Navajo culture, those cracks in a turquoise stone would represent the many things that life does to affect us: age, sickness, all the many scars that we have and we carry with us. So what is it that we can take away from a video like this? That our fascination with the color turquoise is multifaceted. There is a deeper reason why we like the color, yes, but I think also because of our watch hobby. We've also been indoctrinated into appreciating this color because of what it says about itself. It says that it is a desirable color whether we like it or not. And I think just seeing the big shift in interest towards this watch sort of proves my point, that the right watch with this color will always garner attention. Blue is a universal color, and I think if we were to survey the entire world, in the percentiles, blue would probably be right there at the top. I think on a deeper level, we appreciate it because it represents so many positive, natural things, beautiful things. There is nothing quite like an aquamarine ocean. As we know here, this hobby of ours is full of twists and turns, and the more that we try to rationalize it and our choices, the more we fail. As much as I have tried to explain how cultural design and the watch hobby itself has influenced our appreciation for this color, maybe I have missed the mark and maybe I'm reaching too far. It might just be this color is fashionable because of the current time we're living in. But I would like to think that in my theory there are at least a few trace elements that has impacted the way that we admire and we look at turquoise. And it doesn't hurt that it just looks good, right? What do you think? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. See you in the next one.